Hey everyone, it's Ekayani, and guess what? I'm doing another book review this week. This week I am reviewing Grain Brain by Dr. David Perlmutter. So Dr. David Perlmutter, to give you some background on him, he is a neurologist. He is based out of Naples, Florida, and he is also a founding member and fellow of the American College of Nutrition. So he's got some unique insights onto the relationship between grain and your brain. This is a very, very geeky book. Like Dr. William Davis, who wrote the book Wheat Belly, who is relating weight gain and also different disorders, heart disease, diabetes, etc., to wheat. Dr. Perlmutter, because his specialty, again, is on brain health and neurology, he also has a very personal connection to that because his own father, who was a doctor, is suffering from Alzheimer's, Alzheimer's, an advanced case of dementia. So this book in particular gives a unique perspective in the relationship of diet and, again, specifically grains, gluten, wheat, rye, barley, etc., and the forms that we find them in today in the United States. It's a really interesting book because he goes into quite a lot of detail, sort of minute detail, again, with a neurological bent, but still in an easy, translatable way to understand for the average person, drawing relationships between the link between grains and ADHD, dementia, Alzheimer's, and some of the other, sort of low-level illnesses that are also an indicator of brain dis-ease or sort of a lack of health that can come in the form of headaches, migraine headaches, insomnia, depression, anxiety, and again going towards a more extreme and uncomfortable manifestation of the relationship between grain and the brain, the nervous system, the neurological system. It can also manifest in the form of movement disorders, seizures and the like. What I found, well, there's a lot of really interesting things in this book, but he makes, again, a very strong case for increasing the healthy fats in our diet, the omega-3 fatty acids. While I do not share Dr. Perlmutter's emphasis on kind of a paleo diet and, a fish-centered diet, I do understand, the nutritional motivators behind that. Being a vegetarian, I derive my omega-3 fatty acids and from other sources, from plant sources, from, organic milk sources, etc. But that's being said, the point is that the brain is largely made up of fat, and like needs like likes like, and needs it to sustain itself. Related to that, he brings out a very illuminating argument on the importance of cholesterol, which has been portrayed as the bad guy of the American diet for decades now. Low-fat yogurt, low-fat milk, low-fat this, low-fat that, no-fat this, no-fat that. As it turns out, it would appear that actually the opposite is true, again, because cholesterol is actually something that is found in every cell, that every cell actually has the ability to manufacture itself. So that gives you an indication of how important it is. It's not cholesterol in and of itself that is bad. It is what happens to cholesterol that becomes oxidized, that becomes damaged. And that, again, goes back to grain. That goes back to a very high consumption of carbs. in the American diet, the average person is getting most of their food, most of their energy from a diet that is made up of 60% of carbohydrates. So he is proposing the opposite, that we increase the healthy fats that we intake. My suggestion would even be things like, avocados, chia seeds, whole yogurts, for example, and to, stay away from all the processed wheat products, gluten products. He's also making a case that you don't just have to have celiac disease to have a reaction to gluten. Again, the symptoms that I mentioned earlier, ADHD, dementia, Alzheimer's, headaches, insomnia, depression, anxiety, seizures, diabetes, all those things are directly related to an overconsumption or even any consumption of these types of grains in their current distorted forms. What else did I want to say? He also talks about statin drugs. He talks about statin drugs again and how apparently they increase the risk of heart disease and can impair brain function as well. So once again, this gets back to the cholesterol argument, where the whole idea has been pushed and promoted that cholesterol is bad and it's something that we need to lower. Hence, more and more statin drugs are being prescribed to Americans today. I read an article about 2 months ago, I'd say, in New York Newsday, saying that doctors in general would like to see 2/3 of the American population on statin drugs. That's pretty alarming. So the idea is cut down on the grains, cut down on the carbs. In other words, cut down on these foods that spike your blood sugar so high that you become insulin resistant, that manifests in type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, crazy inflammation all over the body, glycation of the arteries, the body's inability to deliver, ample oxygenated blood to all the organs in your body. In this case, again, the emphasis is on the brain and the neurological system, and to really increase your intake of healthy fats, exercise, and there you have it. The only other thing I would say that I found curious about Dr. Perlmutter's position is that he seems to have a bias against fruits. He doesn't seem to like apples. He seems to be making an argument that fruits can also spike blood sugar. Well, I suppose if you are in extreme condition and are in a stage where you are trying to get your blood sugar levels to normal, taking in vegetables and fruits that are particularly low glycemic are important for you. With that being said, an apple doesn't rate particularly high on the glycemic scale. I also noticed that there was he does a service and he does give some recipes at the end of the book. He tries to model, what a grain-free diet would look like. But again, there's not a lot of emphasis on fruits or vegetables or green vegetables. That being said, he also does make a case for the importance of having a clean liver via the argument of glutathione. Glutathione is something that I've mentioned earlier. It's something that the liver needs and will manufacture in order to help the detoxification process in the body. It's something that you can get it can get a boost through vitamin C and also milk thistle, for example. So I thought that was interesting. In general, I thought this was a really excellent book, pointing out some underlying reasons of why very soon in 2050, if we're not careful, 100 million people in the United States, that's a third of the population as it stands today at 300 million, will be diabetic. So this is quite alarming, and this is a nice little nudge to get us moving on our way for someone who has a specialty and is quite knowledgeable in his niche on grain, the brain, diseases of the brain, inflammation, its relationship to diet, and particularly to dementia, Alzheimer's, and all those heartbreaking diseases that families are facing today. So go ahead, add this book to your library. I think it will deepen your knowledge as it has deepened mine, and given you another perspective on the things that you probably want to look into so you stay healthy and happy. This is Ekayani Chamberlin with The Living Connection. Thank you for liking this video, my channel, and liking The Living Connection with Ekayani Chamberlin on Facebook. Until the next time, be well.